Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. This story is about, what if Hinata fell in love with Naruto? If you enjoy watching my videos, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications to never miss out when I post videos. Let me know down in the comments if you want more parts of this series. With all that said, let's start the video. Chapter 1. Naruto, is this love? It has been 2 months since he last saw her. After the fight with Pain, Naruto and Hinata talked a lot more, but no more than that. Naruto had told her that he had no idea what love was, so he decided that they could hang out until he got the idea. 2 months ago Hinata had come to tell him her sister had been critically injured to the point where she could die. There had been an assassination attempt so they could steal her eyes. Like every night he was walking home to his apartment, of course taking a detour past the Hyuga compound. He hadn't made it close to there yet, though he was just walking from the park shortcut, when he saw a figure of a person running towards him. "Hello? Who's there?" he yelled, causing the person to run his way faster until he was grabbed onto and then heard sobbing. He looked down to see Hinata gripping his jacket. Hinata, what's wrong?" he asked, hugging her tightly, then pulling away to look at her face. She's gone and not coming back." She shook her head no, as if trying to deny something. "Who? Hinata, who's gone?" "My sister." That was the first time he had ever heard her yell. "She died early in the morning. I was supposed to be watching her, but I wasn't." She trailed off, crying harder and burying her head into Naruto's jacket. It started pouring rain and a breeze blew, causing Hinata to shiver. Naruto looked down to see that she only had on a thin tank top shirt and her normal ninja pants and shoes. He removed his jacket and handed it to her. "Here, we don't want you getting sick." When she didn't take the jacket, he took her arms and put them through for her, zipped the jacket all the way up. When he finished, all Hinata did was hug herself and sink to the ground until she was laying on her side, still hugging herself. "Hinata," Naruto whispered as he bent down and scooped her up bridal style and starting walking towards the compound. "And no, I don't want to go there," she whispered hoarsely, snuggling into him, still sobbing. "You have to go somewhere, you can't stay out in the rain all night," he told her, stopping in front of the compound. "Please don't leave me alone. Please," she whispered, drifting in and out of consciousness. "Okay, I promise," he starting running from rooftop to rooftop until he reached his apartment complex. "Guess you will just have to stay here." He held her with one arm so he could unlock the door. He walked over and laid her down on the couch so he could get some dry clothes on. He came back with a stack of dry clothes for Hinata. Hinata, wake up." Naruto shook her awake. She slowly opened her eyes, then sat up as well. "You need to get out of these wet clothes. The bathroom is right over there if you want to take a shower. Here are some clothes." He handed her the clothes and she got up and walked into the bathroom. Half hour later she walked out in one of Naruto's t-shirts and sweatpants. "Naruto," she called quietly. He walked out of the bedroom drying his blonde spiky hair with a towel. There are 2 bathrooms, one in the bedroom, one in the living room. He looked up at her and smiled slightly, but frowned when he saw she was still crying slightly. "Do you want anything to eat?" he asked, but she shook her head no. "Do you need anything?" he asked again, walking closer because she looked like she was about to pass out. Browse just in community forum beta's story search anime/manga/anime/Naruto/anime/Naruto/. Plus. I just want to sleep," Hinata said as she walked up and hugged him and cried into his bare chest. He somehow managed to walk her to the bedroom and set her down onto the bed, pulling the covers back. And he noticed she shivered again. He walked to his closet and pulled out a fresh jacket because he knew the covers wouldn't keep her warm enough. "Here," he handed her the jacket, and this time she put it on and zipped it halfway. "Thank you," she whispered. She crawled under the covers and snuggled into the pillow, taking in a deep breath of the calming scent of Naruto's shampoo. Naruto got up to leave but was grabbed by the wrist. He turned to look at Hinata. "Don't leave me, please stay." She pulled him towards the bed a little but then let go and out her hand under the pillow, which buried her head in and sobbed harder than before, grabbing the pillow and practically screaming into the pillow. Naruto quickly grabbed a blanket from the closet, one to take on missions, for him to use. He crawled onto the bed and covered up her under the bed covers and him on top of them so she wouldn't feel violated or something. He wrapped his arm around her waist and she quieted down a little. "Shoo, Hinata, it's not your fault, please stop crying, I hate it when you cry," he whispered into her ear while stroking her wet hair to try and calm her. "It is my fault. I could have gotten help, I could have done something, been there with her so she wouldn't have to die alone," she sobbed. "She just turned 13 years old, it's not fair, she didn't have to, she was stronger than me, why didn't they come after me instead?" she screamed, then turned her face to look into Naruto's eyes. They were a sad blue and he was frowning while watching the tears run down her beautiful pale face. "Why didn't they come after me, why?" she asked over and then turned her head back into the pillow. Naruto pulled her closer, hugging her from behind now. "I don't know, Hinata, but I know one thing. This is not and will never be your fault. Whoever did this, it is their fault, not yours. I'm sure Hanabi only ever thought of you as the strong big sister that you are." Naruto whispered to her. She stopped sobbing so much now and just had tears running down her cheeks. "Just rest now, Hinata, just sleep," and she did. Naruto held her, remembering the first time he had seen her cry was when she had told him about her sister being attacked, and all he could do was hug her. Then she disappeared for 2 months, worrying him half to death. He slowly drifted off to sleep, still holding the girl next to him tightly as if she would slip away. Chapter 2. Naruto woke up to the sound of whimpering. He opened his eyes and looked out the window to see it still pouring down rain, but you could see the sun was starting to rise. He looked over to the clock to see it was only 3 a.m. Then looked over to see that Hinata was curled into a ball, was whimpering and shivering because of lack of covers which she must have kicked off. "Hinata? Hinata, wake up, it's okay." He shook her gently and she bolted up, almost head-butting Naruto, but he was faster than her. "And Naruto? What's wrong?" she whispered softly. "I'll leave if that's what you wanted." She got up and started taking off his jacket. No, that's not it at all, you're fine, you looked like you were having a nightmare so I woke you up." Naruto stood up, re-zipped the jacket, then slowly pushed her back onto the bed and covered her up. He kissed her on the forehead and before removing his lips whispered, "Go back to sleep, you're safe here," and then left the room to get a drink. He came back with a glass of water, setting it in the nightstand in case Hinata needed it when she woke up. He was about to go back to sleep until he heard knocking on the door. He grumbled about untimely visitors this early in the morning. Opening the door, he revealed Kurenai. "Yes," he asked sleepily while rubbing one eye and then yawning. "Sorry to disturb you, but Hinata has gone missing and Hayashi is worried. You haven't seen her, have you?" she asked in a hurry. She looked like she was about to break down and cry, like a mother would over her lost child. Yeah, she's here actually, though she's sleeping." He was cut off when he was shoved aside by her and saw he bolt into his room. He followed after her only to see her staring at the sleeping Hinata. "I ran into her while walking home. She wouldn't let me take her back to her house, so I brought her here, and let her sleep on the bed and gave her some dry clothes," the blonde explained while walking by Kurenai and sitting on the side of the bed looking at Hinata. "Why is there a blanket there?" she asked him. He looked at the black blanket that was in a ball from when he was sleeping. "I was sleeping there too. I left the covers between us so she wouldn't feel intruded. She wouldn't let me leave." He leaned over and brushed a hair from her face. "We won't tell Hayashi about that," she said, then leaning down and kissing Hinata on the forehead and walking out of the apartment, Naruto following to close and lock the door. "People and their weird visiting hours," he screamed when another knock came to the door. Browse just in community forum beta's story search. Anime/manga/Naruto/anime/Naruto/. Plus. Sakura, what are you doing here? He asked. The Hokage wants to see you. She has a mission, she said breathlessly, then looked him up and down and blushed. He was only in his boxers. Even if she was a Sasuke fan, what girl could deny a good body? I can't, he said seriously, then moved aside to let her in and closed the door. I have to watch Hinata. She isn't in the best of shape and I promised I wouldn't leave her, he said, while sitting on the couch. Well, okay, I can tell Tsunade. She started walking back towards the door but then stopped. You really care for her, I can tell. Don't let her slip away. She likes you a lot, then left. Naruto finally crawled back into bed and looked at Hinata sleeping almost peacefully, but her face would contort into a strange expression every now and again. He wrapped his arms around her again and covered up with the blanket. I won't let you go, I promise, he whispered, then fell asleep again. He woke up 10 minutes later when once again someone decided to disturb him. He didn't even have time to get out of the bedroom when the door gave in and he heard yelling. Naruto Uzumaki, how dare you turn down a mission under the Hokage's request? Tsunade yelled, walking into the living room, her fist clenched. Granny, if you wouldn't mind keeping it down, he whispered. He didn't know how she would act to the whole poor helpless Hinata sleeping in his bedroom right now, so he didn't want Tsunade to wake her up. Don't you tell me to do anything. Get your lazy ass up and go do your damn mission, or do you not want to be Hokage anymore? She yelled. I have a good excuse, I swear you dash. No excuses when a ninja is called for a mission. They go, not say, oh, I can't, you see I'm bu dash. I was helping a friend, he screamed at her. The whole lack of sleep thing was getting to him. Then she kept going on and on about, well, nothing really, it's not like he was really listening. Helping your friend is more important than a mission that could save someone's life, she asked, serious. At the moment, yes. Naruto, why are you yell? Oh, good morning, Tsunade. Hinata said as she walked out of the bedroom. Naruto ran a hand through his hair and blew out a breath. Sorry, Hinata, didn't mean to wake you, he said, and then looked at Tsunade to see her glaring at him. How exactly were you helping, Hinata? Naruto, the two of them explained the whole story. Hinata ended up crying a little but pretty much stopped when Naruto hugged her to him and told her everything was going to be alright. Anyway, Naruto, would you like to know what your mission is? Tsunade said, standing up. I didn't know you had a mission, Naruto. I would have left to go home. No, I turned it down. Granny over her is just persistent, he said, hugging her to him again, and she hugged him back in breath and then out to calm herself. Well, anyway, your mission is to be the personal bodyguard of Hinata Hyuga. With what happened with her sister, we can't take any chances, so I wanted you to guard her since she feels safe around you. And Hayashi wanted the best, and so far that's exactly what you are, one of the best ninja, so that's your mission. She got up and left with Naruto staring at the door in shock. Okay, well, Hinata, it's 7 now, so do you want any breakfast? I only have ramen, but it's better than nothing, and it's still raining, so I think we might be stuck in here for a while. Later we can go to your house and pick you up some clothes, is that okay? He looked at her and she nodded her head yes. And I would actually like ramen. She looked up and smiled a little, but it was gone as quickly as it appeared. They ate their ramen quietly, then Hinata got up and changed her pants into the ones she had last night, which were now dry. But she left the t-shirt and tucked it in her pants and jacket on when Naruto told her it was too cold for just that shirt she had on last night. Naruto threw on an all-black jacket and his normal orange pants. He found an umbrella and they walked out of the apartment together. Hinata held on to his arm tightly and kept her eyes down the whole time. No one, however, could deny the stares the two got. Hinata was mostly looked at with looks of pity. Some people would even walk up to her and tell her, I'm sorry for your loss, and then just walk away. By the time they got to the compound, the rain had started to pour harder than before. When they walked in they ran into Niji. Naruto. Niji said and nodded his head once. He then looked at Hinata and his face turned sad. Hinata? He asked. When Hinata looked up she had tear streaks on her face. Naruto frowned at that. Hinata, why don't you go with Niji to get yourself clothes? I'll go speak with your father. All she did was nod her head. He handed Niji the umbrella and walked towards the main house, Hinata and Niji following at their own pace. He could hear Hinata start sobbing again almost exactly as the two stepped foot in the house, and it made his heart break, to hear her sobs, and he couldn't do anything about it. Chapter 3. Hyuga, sir? Naruto asked when he walked into the office of Hayashi Hyuga. He was sitting at his desk with his head in his hands, but when Naruto said something he bolted into a standing position like he was getting ready to be attacked. Naruto, you startled me, he said, walking around his desk. I knocked but there wasn't an answer. Naruto said, pointing towards the office door. I was thinking, guess I didn't hear you. Hayashi smiled a little. The cold eyes that Naruto remembered were no longer cold anymore. They were sad and watery, but there were no tears. I'm sorry for your loss. And I promise that I will protect Hinata with my life. Naruto said, giving his foxy grin and a thumbs up, trying to lighten the mood. Hayashi smiled at the boy's antics, then came over and patted him on the back. I know you will. But where is she right now? And thank you also for last night. She ran out of the house. No one was able to catch her. I'm surprised you did. Hayashi said, walking out of the study, Naruto following. Well, actually she literally ran into me. I was walking home and I saw her. It started raining and she didn't want to come home. I brought home with me. The blonde shrugged his shoulders, looking at the ground when Hayashi turned his gaze to him and then continued speaking. I left her with Niji so she could her clothes and everything. Then we are going to head back to the apartment. After we visit the Hokage to get more details on what happened. He tried to choose his words perfectly so he wouldn't upset anyone. The funeral will be in 2 days. I expect her to be there for her sister. Hayashi said, looking away and where he was walking. Naruto saw Hinata's bedroom door, which was slightly opened. Hayashi knocked on the door, then walked in slowly, revealing Hinata packing clothes, still in Naruto's jacket but in different shirt and pants. She had 2 bags full of clothes and was currently working on accessories. Niji was sitting on the bed watching calmly. Hinata wasn't crying, but you could tell she was upset. Hinata, may I talk to you? Her father asked. Yes, father. Hinata walked over to him and then they both walked outside the door. Look, I need you to be safe. You're all I have left now, so please just be careful. And I always will love you. Believe me, with Naruto I'm sure I won't have a problem of being safe, and I love you too, daddy. Hayashi was shocked, and his daughter called him that ever since her mother died. She had not called him that or hugged him, and now here she was doing both. He awkwardly hugged back. Browse just in community forum beta's story search. Anime/manga/anime/Naruto/anime/Naruto/ Plus. Remove ads. I have to leave. I'll see you in 2 days, promise. She smiled, then opened her door to see Naruto already had her bags, all except one, which was a bag of things Niji had gotten out of Hanabi's room for Hinata to keep, and Hinata wanted to carry that. Altogether there were 5 bags, mostly small. Ready? Naruto asked, walking up to her, handing her the other bag. Yes, I can carry more, you know, she said while looking at the bags in his hands. Now what kind of guy would I be if I did that? He chuckled, making Hinata giggle a little. You would be no kind of guy at all, Mr. Uzumaki, she joked with him as they stepped outside. It had finally stopped raining, but it wasn't sunny, still some clouds. We have to visit the Hokage before we head home. I need to know more about the enemy, and how he works, he said slowly as they walked towards the new Hokage tower. Okay, then I'll be fine, I promise. She gave a watery smile, but Naruto gave a bright smile towards her. At least she was trying, right? I would take you home first, but I have to watch you, so I can't leave you alone, and I could use shadow clones, but they are easy to get rid of. You know very well I can handle myself, she said seriously. I'm not weak. I know, but I don't want to take my chances, and whoever this person is, they will use what they know about the Hyugas against you, and they might even use your sister to make you angry or distract you. I know you are strong, but please trust me. He lifted her hand and kissed the back, and she blushed a little. Thank you. The rest of the walk was in silence. Granny! Naruto yelled, jumping through the window with Hinata following him. What do you want, Naruto? The vein in her forehead was becoming visible. Actually, this is serious. We need to know more about Hanabi Hyuga's killer, he said seriously. He saw Hinata flinch, but she pretty much kept a straight face. I see. Well, take a seat. I can really only tell you what we think. We think he is a rogue ninja from this village. Why? Hinata asked, looking anxious. You might not want to see this, Hinata. Tsunade pulled out a thing of photos. He carved the leaf symbol into her stomach deep enough to hit vital organs. She handed the picture to Naruto, who turned pale looking at it. Hinata caught a glance and buried her head into Naruto's shoulder. The chairs were that close. Then after her carved it, her crossed it out like you would do with a headband. You could tell he was aiming for the eyes because of the cuts above and below the eye. She handed Naruto a picture of Hanabi's pale white face that was covered in deep cuts all over, mostly close to the eyes. Do you have an idea who? He asked, handing back both pictures. Or maybe other victims. He put high arm around Hinata, holding he close to him, but he realized she wasn't crying, just shaking. We are currently looking into that. Nothing has come up so far, and it's hard to find anything with what happened with Pain. A lot of documents were destroyed. Tsunade looked upset as she stared down at the pictures again. Well, if that's it, we are going to head home. Thank you, Granny. He yelled the last part, and then the two bolted out of the window. When they reached the house, after grocery shopping, Hinata started making a late lunch while Naruto cleaned out some space in his dresser. Naruto, Hinata said as food finished. She made egg omelets and rice. Thank you, Hinata. The dresser is cleaned out. Turns out everything in there was old, so I put them in extra storage scrolls I had. You get the whole dresser. He smiled his large smile, and she blushed but smiled back. They ate quietly until they were cleaning up. Naruto, why do you think people kill other people? Hinata asked while cleaning a dish. Naruto froze, then glanced over at her. There are many reasons: revenge, power, jealousy. To save another or even protect yourself. He started cleaning again and shrugged his shoulders. Would you ever, kill for any of those reasons? She stopped and looked over at him. He stopped too and looked at her. Hinata, I never really thought about it. I guess to protect the people I care for, yeah, never revenge, power or jealousy, and to protect myself I really don't know. I don't fight for me, I fight for people around me. What about you? I would just like to avoid killing someone at any cost. But I guess you're right, to protect other people sometimes you have to kill. They cleaned the rest silently until a half hour later, when Hinata was sitting on the couch thinking. Hey, Hinata, you okay? Naruto asked, kneeling in front of her. Would you ever, no matter what the circumstances, kill a little kid of 13? She asked, tears in her eyes. Never defend myself, yes, but kill, no. They still have time to change if they can or want to. What's with all these questions? He crossed his arms under his chin and leaned on her knees when she leaned back onto the couch. I'm trying to figure out why someone would kill Hanabi. Same reasons why you have had a dozen of kidnapping attempts on you, your eyes and heritage, you're like royalty. Also the same reason when I was little people would try and kill me, hate. It sums everything up. He lifted a hand and wiped away a tear that was trailing slowly down her cheek. Naruto, people who think you're an idiot are way wrong. You're very smart, you just don't let it show. She smiled, then got up to go take a shower, leaving Naruto completely dumbstruck. Chapter 4. Waiting for Naruto to get out of the shower, Hinata waited on the bed. She was thinking and comparing her life to his. She had a family. He was an orphan. She was treated with respect. He was treated like dirt. They were at first both weak. They were both looked down on. He grew stronger fast. She grew stronger slowly. No matter how you wanted to put any of it, they were from two different worlds, and she wasn't happy and her life was great, but Naruto was one of the happiest persons she knew. And his life wasn't easy. How does he do it? She thought, looking towards the bathroom door where he just walked out drying his hair. The seal wasn't on his stomach. He had figured out a way to make it invisible. He had showed it to her once. To her it made him more interesting, knowing he was the container of a great demon. It made him more unique than he already was. He's special, she thought, then smiled lightly in his direction. What do I have? Something on my face? He lifted his hands to his face. No, nothing, I was just thinking, that's all. I was wondering how you did it. She giggled at the confused look on his face. Do what? He came and sat at the bottom of the bed, and she was on the side of the bed to his right, so their backs were facing each other. Browse just in community forum betas story search. Anime/manga/Naruto/anime/Naruto/plus. Remove ads. You stay so happy, and all you want to do is help people even after all they have done to you, after all you have been through. You can still smile. I can tell sometimes when it's pushed, though your eyes tell it all, she said, looking over at him. He flopped down on the bed with his arms raised over top his head. He was looking up at the ceiling. She turned fully to face him. I have people helping me. I used to hate the villagers. I started doing pranks to get attention and have fun. Kids wouldn't play with me, so that's what I did. When Irika helped me all those years ago, he was the first person who cared besides the third. Then I made a lot of friends and the mask wasn't really necessary, but some villagers still hate me even after I saved the village. It looks to other people that the comments don't affect me, that's the point, but the truth is they affect me a lot. He looked over at her to see her crying. Again she leaned down and buried her face in his bare chest again. Hinata, you don't have to cry, he said, leaning up on his elbows. Yes I do. You won't, so I'll cry for you, she said loudly, looking into his eyes. The look in her eyes said she cared more than anything, that he was happy. He laid back down and she snuggled into his side, holding him closely. He didn't mind how close they were, in fact he liked it. It felt natural. But it got him thinking about things too. Hinata? He asked, looking down at her. Was what he got, and she looked up at him too. Why, you said you loved me. He paused and she shook her head. Yes, why? I mean, I'm a demon, a monster, how could you love me? Simple. You're funny, yet serious when it comes to work. You have the biggest heart I have ever seen. You're strong, in both mind and body. You also know how to brighten anyone's day. Can I see your seal again, Naruto? He did a few hand signs showing the seal. Hinata sat up and with a very bold move of her kissed his navel, making him gasp. She then started tracing it with her finger. This right here is also something. Not only does Kyuubi give you power to make you stronger, but he gives you unique features like the whisker marks I love seeing so much. She then traced his whiskers with both hands, one on each side. His seal disappeared again when he closed his eyes to the feel of her touching his cheeks. That is why I love you. She kissed him on the forehead like he had done to her before. Naruto got a fluttery feeling in his stomach when he looked back into her pearl eyes. Is this love? Is what he thought all night when he was trying to sleep. When Naruto finally drifted off into a light sleep, he heard a thump and a startled yelp. His eyes shot open to see Hinata laying on the floor, her arms tied behind her back, eyes staring up in fear at the man in front of her. Another ninja not form the leaf. Naruto then was sent flying across the room and smack into the wall when a second ninja kicked him in his gut. The second ninja then ran over and gripped Naruto by his neck and head-butted him, using his headband as an advantage. Naruto's head made a dent in the wall and started to bleed on his forehead near his hairline. But he still didn't collapse despite the pain running through his head and neck. He then felt a sharp pain in his shoulders then. His one side started aching as well. The ninja had stabbed one kunai in each shoulder and stabbed his side as well, most likely hitting an organ considering how much pain he was in. Hinata tried to scream but she was gagged and her eyes were watery but the tears were unshed. Naruto managed to kick the ninja in his stomach but in return got another stab in his side. Before he could recover, the ninjas were gone, taking Hinata with them as he lay on the floor bleeding. Chapter 5. I have to get to Tsunade. Naruto though, as he walked through the village, he was getting many odd stares. 1. He only had on a pair of old sweats. 2. He was barefoot. 3. Most likely bleeding to death. But he kept walking. People gave him a wide area to walk but no one offered help because they were shocked to see him in the village like this. Naruto, he looked up at the voice and saw Lee, Niji, Shikamaru, Choji, Tenten, Sakura, and Ino, all walking his way. Naruto, you should get to the hospital, Sakura said as she walked up to him, helping him stand. It's dangerous to walk around like this, as she turned him towards the hospital. Or tried to anyway as he gritted his teeth but didn't move. I have to get to Tsunade. They got her, Sakura, he whispered so only she could hear. The rest would find out soon enough. No, they couldn't have. How? She trailed off and she looked over his wounds closer. You have to go to the hospital now. She was debating in her head whether or not she should take him to the hospital or Tsunade. Lee, Choji, help him walk. I'll run ahead with Ino and Tenten to tell Tsunade that he is coming. Niji, you might want to be there too. They all traveled to Tsunade's office, which she tended to stay in late. Shizune, we have an emergency, Sakura yelled as she made it into the Hokage building, being followed by Naruto and all the guys. Naruto, what happened? Shizune said as she stood up from her desk outside the office. No time, I have to see Tsunade, he said, trying to walk on his own but stumbled but was caught by Niji and Lee. They all walked into the office, Naruto almost being dragged. He's lost so much blood, Sakura thought as she walked in behind them. Naruto, what happened to you? Tsunade yelled, standing up and walking around her desk to him where he was now sitting in a chair on the other side of the room. Let me heal you, she said, but he pushed her hands away. Browse just in community forum beta's story search. Anime/manga/anime/Naruto/anime/Naruto/. Remove ads. Wait, they took Hinata, they got her. We were sleeping and they broke in, there was only 2 of them. I should have been able to stop them, he yelled the last part, then grabbed the wound in his side in pain. After I'm done healing you, you will have to rest. Sakura will take you back to your house and watch you. She started to heal him, you could tell it hurt a little but then his face started to relax. What about Hinata? He asked, looking at her. Niji, you will lead all the ninja in this room on a search for Hinata. Hyuga, search both the village and the perimeter. They couldn't have gotten too far, and the ninja in the room left. Then Sakura let Naruto lean on her because he was still woozy from all the blood loose, but the trip to his apartment wasn't bad. She laid him on the bed just to let him sleep. Sakura, go look for Hinata with the others. I'm fine, I'll stay right here, he told her as she turned to walk away. Tsunade gave me orders to stay here, I can't dash. Yes, you can. Please, you can come check on me every now and again, but right now we all know who is more important. And it sure as hell is not me, he yelled at her, making her flinch back a little. Okay, I'll be back to check on you, just try to sleep. With that she was out of the apartment. Naruto drifted in and out of sleep for what felt like eternity, but looking at the clock it was only 2 hours. He then heard the door slam open, making him jump and grab a kunai from between the mattress, ready to defend himself. What he didn't expect was a wet Sakura running into his apartment. Naruto, we found her, she was in the park, she's in the hospital, come on. Come on, she wants to see you, she yelled while dragging him out of the apartment. What about the ninja who had her? He asked, confused. She killed one and hurt the other one, who will be in interrogation just as soon as he wakes up. They were now walking in the rain, well, more like running, and when the hospital came into view, Naruto was the one dragging Sakura. Hinata, Hyuga, what room? He yelled at the receptionist. Second floor, room 220, and he was gone. He let go of Sakura's hand and bolted up the steps to her room. He slammed open the door, causing all the occupants to jump. He saw Hinata sitting on the bed looking up in shock when she saw him standing at the door. She slowly stood up and took a step, but before she could walk any farther she was caught in a crushing hug that lifted her feet off the ground. And Naruto, I'm okay. Hinata whispered as he started to put her down. Are you? She asked as she took his face in her hands, looking into his eyes. Yeah, Tsunade healed me, he told her. Well, Hinata, Naruto, we have an issue now, Tsunade said as she walked into the room followed by Sakura. They now know where you are staying, Hinata, so you will need to relocate. Naruto will still be your guard, but I think the Namikaze estate would be much better to stay, Tsunade said with a smirk when she saw the shock on Naruto's face. No, Namikaze, he stuttered, then sat down on the edge of the hospital bed. I'm sure your father would love that you have it. As of right now you are the only Namikaze living, she smiled and started to walk out of the room. Meet me in my office early tomorrow, scratch that, sometime tomorrow. Get some rest, both of you. They walked home silently. Naruto held Hinata's hand in a death grip, afraid to let her go. They got to the apartment no problem at all, and both exhausted they changed into fresh pajamas, in different rooms of course, then crawled into bed. Hinata? She looked up at his face, which was looking up at the ceiling. How did you escape? He turned to look at her and their eyes looked. They should have known better than to not tie my hands. I attacked the one man and managed to kill him on the first blow, then the other I just put unconscious, to be interrogated later. She smiled at him, feeling proud of herself to be strong enough for that. To be honest though, I was terrified, for me and you. I mean, you could have bled to death. Who found you? She asked, sitting up in her side using her elbow to hold herself up. No one. I walked halfway to Tsunade's office before I ran into Sakura and the others. I'm just glad you're okay. I was scared for you more than me. I heal fast, so I wouldn't have died, but they could have killed you before I got to tell you something very important, he said, sitting up the same way she was looking into her eyes. What would that be? She asked, frowning a little, thinking it was something bad because of the serious look on his face. I know I'm a lot lad at saying this, but Hinata, I think I might just be in love with you, he said, and then smiled at her with a slight blush. She smiled back with a huge, toothy smile. While Naruto, I think that I might possibly be in love with you too, she said as they both leaned in and were caught in a passionate kiss. That night was a night those two would never forget. Yes, they did the unmentionable, before anyone asked. It was a in-the-moment thing. And I don't write that kind of stuff. Chapter 5. I have to get to Tsunade. Naruto, though, as he walked through the village, he was getting many odd stares. 1. He only had on a pair of old sweats. 2. He was barefoot. 3. Most likely bleeding to death. But he kept walking. People gave him a wide area to walk, but no one offered help because they were shocked to see him in the village like this. Naruto, he looked up at the voice and saw Lee, Niji, Shikamaru, Choji, Tenten, Sakura, and Ino, all walking his way. Naruto, you should get to the hospital, Sakura said as she walked up to him, helping him stand. It's dangerous to walk around like this, as she turned him towards the hospital. Or tried to anyway, as he gritted his teeth but didn't move. I have to get to Tsunade. They got her, Sakura, he whispered so only she could hear. The rest would find out soon enough. No, they couldn't have. How? She trailed off and she looked over his wounds closer. You have to go to the hospital now. She was debating in her head whether or not she should take him to the hospital or Tsunade. Lee, Choji, help him walk. I'll run ahead with Ino and Tenten to tell Tsunade that he is coming. Niji, you might want to be there too. They all traveled to Tsunade's office, which she tended to stay in late. Shizune. We have an emergency. Sakura yelled as she made it into the Hokage building, being followed by Naruto and all the guys. Naruto, what happened? Shizune said as she stood up from her desk outside the office. No time, I have to see Tsunade, he said, trying to walk on his own but stumbled but was caught by Niji and Lee. They all walked into the office, Naruto almost being dragged. He's lost so much blood. Sakura thought as she walked in behind them. Naruto, what happened to you? Tsunade yelled, standing up and walking around her desk to him, where he was now sitting in a chair on the other side of the room. Let me heal. You, she said, but he pushed her hands away. Browse just in community forum Beta's story search. Anime/manga/Naruto/anime/Naruto/plus. Remove ads. Wait, they took Hinata, they got her. We were sleeping and they broke in, there was only 2 of them. I should have been able to stop them, he yelled the last part, then grabbed the wound in his side in pain. After I'm done healing you, you will have to rest. Sakura will take you back to your house and watch you. She started to heal him, you could tell it hurt a little, but then his face started to relax. What about Hinata? He asked, looking at her. Niji, you will lead all the ninja in this room on a search for Hinata. Hyuga, search both the village and the perimeter. They couldn't have gotten too far, and the ninja in the room left. Then Sakura let Naruto lean on her because he was still woozy from all the blood loose, but the trip to his apartment wasn't bad. She laid him on the bed just to let him sleep. Sakura, go look for Hinata with the others. I'm fine, I'll stay right here, he told her as she turned to walk away. Tsunade gave me orders to stay here, I can't dash. Yes, you can. Please, you can come check on me every now and again, but right now we all know who is more important. And it sure as hell is not me, he yelled at her, making her flinch back a little. Okay, I'll be back to check on you, just try to sleep. With that, she was out of the apartment. Naruto drifted in and out of sleep for what felt like eternity, but looking at the clock, it was only 2 hours. He then heard the door slam open, making him jump and grab a kunai from between the mattress, ready to defend himself. What he didn't expect was a wet Sakura running into his apartment. Naruto, we found her, she was in the park, she's in the hospital, come on. Come on, she wants to see you, she yelled while dragging him out of the apartment. What about the ninja who had her? He asked, confused. She killed one and hurt the other one, who will be in interrogation just as soon as he wakes up. They were now walking in the rain, well, more like running, and when the hospital came into view, Naruto was the one dragging Sakura. Hinata. Hyuga, what room? He yelled at the receptionist. Second floor, room 220, and he was gone. He let go of Sakura's hand and bolted up the steps to her room. He slammed open the door, causing all the occupants to jump. He saw Hinata sitting on the bed, looking up in shock when she saw him standing at the door. She slowly stood up and took a step, but before she could walk any farther, she was caught in a crushing hug that lifted her feet off the ground. And Naruto, I'm okay. Hinata whispered as he started to put her down. Are you? She asked as she took his face in her hands, looking into his eyes. Yeah, Tsunade healed me, he told her. Well, Hinata, Naruto, we have an issue now, Tsunade said as she walked into the room, followed by Sakura. They now know where you are staying, Hinata, so you will need to relocate. Naruto will still be your guard, but I think the Namikaze estate would be much better to stay, Tsunade said with a smirk when she saw the shock on Naruto's face. Nana Namikaze, he stuttered, then sat down on the edge of the hospital bed. I'm sure your father would love that you have it. As of right now you are the only Namikaze living, she smiled and started to walk out of the room. Meet me in my office early. Tomorrow, scratch that sometime tomorrow, get some rest both of you. They walked home silently. Naruto held Hinata's hand in a death grip, afraid to let her go. They got to the apartment no problem at all, and both exhausted they changed into fresh pajamas, in different rooms of course, then crawled into bed. Hinata? She looked up at his face, which was looking up at the ceiling. How did you escape? He turned to look at her and their eyes looked. They should have known better than to not tie my hands. I attacked the one man and managed to kill him on the first blow, then the other I just put unconscious, to be interrogated later. She smiled at him, feeling proud of herself to be strong enough for that. To be honest though, I was terrified, for me and you. I mean, you could have bled to death. Who found you? She asked, sitting up in her side, using her elbow to hold herself up. No one. I walked halfway to Tsunade's office before I ran into Sakura and the others. I'm just glad you're okay. I was scared for you more than me. I heal fast so I wouldn't have died, but they could have killed you before I got to tell you something very important, he said, sitting up the same way she was looking into her eyes. What would that be? She asked, frowning a little, thinking it was something bad because of the serious look on his face. I know I'm a lot lad at saying this, but Hinata, I think I might just be in love with you, he said, and then smiled at her with a slight blush. She smiled back with a huge, toothy smile. While Naruto, I think that I might possibly be in love with you too, she said as they both leaned in and were caught in a passionate kiss. That night was a night those two would never forget. Yes, they did the unmentionable, before anyone asked. It was a in-the-moment thing. And I don't write that kind of stuff. Chapter 7. Naruto, I know I put you on a mission to protect Hinata, but you need to get Sasuke. He's injured and in a village not too far from here. He has sent a messenger and said he is ready to be brought home, but only by you. Tsunade said, folding her hands under her chin, looking him sternly in the eye. He stood up abruptly, his chair screeching across the floor. I can't leave Hinata alone. Tsunade, send Sakura. Naruto yelled, being defiant. You will go. Sakura will watch Hinata. We sent the messenger back saying you will be there, so you will go. Fine. Naruto grumbled as he walked out of the room. As he walked down the street, he couldn't help but smile despite his bad mood. The villagers looked at him as if he was a treasure now. His smile widened when he walked into his home and saw Sakura and Hinata sitting by the pond. They have been staying together for a month and a half now, and Hanabi's killers have yet to be found, although Tsunade said they are getting closer. Naruto. Hinata yelled as she stood up and ran to him as quick as she could in her decorative kimono. Naruto wrapped his arms around her waist, gently lifting her and twirling her in the air as her laughter rung through the air like tinkling wind chimes. There was a camera flash and they both looked to see Sakura had a camera. Sorry, it was a picture-perfect moment. She smiled brightly at the two of them. Naruto frowned when he remembered that he had to leave. What's wrong? Hinata asked him, looking at him worriedly. I have a mission. I have to go retrieve Sasuke and you have to stay here with Sakura. No. You can't leave. What if something happens to you? What will I do? Let me come with you. I'm going to leave. I'll see you both tomorrow. Sakura left quickly, leaving the couple alone. Tsunade said, I can't take you out of the village. Sakura will watch you and it should only be 2 days. Browse just in community forum beta's story search. Anime/manga/anime/Naruto/anime/Naruto/ Plus. I still don't want you to leave. She mumbled, tears in her eyes. I promise, Hina, I will be back sooner than you think. I'll get Sakura now and head out immediately. I'll even run the whole way there and back. He laughed slightly. You should go now then. Hinata nodded her head sadly, giving him a small smile. He leaned down and kissed her deeply, holding her tightly to him. "Excuse me, you two," they heard a voice behind them say as they turned. They saw Sakura there blushing. "Yes, Sakura?" Naruto asked as Hinata's face turned red. "Tsunade sent me to watch Hinata. She said that you are to leave immediately." Naruto nodded his head, a frown on his face. He kissed Hinata, then said goodbye to both of them and ran off faster than Hinata or Sakura have ever seen him run before. "He'll be back before you know it," Sakura said, linking arms with Hinata and pulling her into the house. Naruto ran as fast as his legs could carry him through the tree tops to not attract attention. When he made it to the village, it was about 1 in the morning the next day. "Good. No trouble on the way here. Hopefully I won't have trouble getting back," he thought as he walked to the village entrance. There is where he saw a woman. She wore a traditional kimono. As he walked up to her, however, she pulled a kunai out of her sleeve. "Who goes there?" she yelled, her voice high but with force. "I come from the hidden leaf. My name is Naruto Uzumaki." He held his hands up in surrender as he walked out of the shadows of the trees. "Ah, you're here for the Uchiha kid." She put her kunai away, then waved her hand. "Follow me." Naruto followed her to a hut just inside the small village. The small hut was lit by candles spread out throughout the room. Sasuke was laying on the bed. He slowly sat up when he heard people walk into the room. "Sasuke?" Naruto asked, looking at the other male. "Naruto," Sasuke nodded his head. "You shouldn't be moving," the doctor said. The women stopped talking when Sasuke held up his hand. "I'm ready to go home, Naruto. My guess is you are here to take me there." Naruto nodded his head in a yes fashion, then walked over and lifted Sasuke to his feet, then carefully put him on his back. "He really shouldn't move, he was injured," the women said again. "I have to be home soon. I will carry him and everything will be okay. I'll stop halfway or if he asks," Naruto told her as he ran out of the village before she could say anything else. "Why are you in such a hurry?" Sasuke asked calmly as Naruto ran through the trees. Naruto couldn't help the slight smile when he thought of the reason he was in a hurry. "I have someone waiting for me back home." "Did Sakura finally agree to go out with you?" Sasuke's voice sounded disappointed, causing Naruto to look over his shoulder at him. "Sakura's all yours, my friend. I have Hinata." Back at the village, approximately 3 a.m. Namake's compound. Hinata sat up in bed and quickly ran to the bathroom, throwing up all stomach contents. "Hinata, are you okay?" Sakura asked, kneeling down next to the girl. "I've been getting sick a lot lately, Sakura. I'm pregnant." Sakura's eyes got as wide as saucers, and then she blushed thinking about her so-called brother and the Hyuga girl. Never in her wildest dreams did she think Hinata would be the first to have a child. Shinobi typically had children younger if they wanted them. This is only because they never knew when their last day was. "I'm guessing Naruto doesn't know then?" Sakura asked calmly, helping the girl to her feet. "I couldn't tell him. Tsunade knows just in case she needs me on a mission. Now she knows I can't go. I wanted to tell him but I just couldn't get the courage to." Hinata started sobbing then as Sakura led her to her bed and rocked her like a mother would her child. "Naruto would love to hear this, Hinata. How far along are you?" The question seemed personal, but it had to be asked. Hinata quieted down a little more. "Almost 2 months." Hinata laid her hand on her stomach where a slight bulge was forming. "I was starting to show, so I started wearing kimonos more." Sakura held Hinata for over 3 hours as she cried into her shoulder. When she finally calmed down, it was around 6:30. "You have to tell Naruto." "Tell Naruto what?" The girls jumped when they saw the man in question standing there looking exhausted and breathing heavily, using the door jamb to stand straight. "Hina? What's wrong? Why were you crying?" He walked to the bed and sat down. Sakura stood up. "I'm going to head home." She walked towards their bedroom door, stopping when Naruto called her. "Sasuke asked to see you." He's in the hospital. Sakura has never smiled wider or ran so fast. After a few minutes of awkward silence and Naruto trying to reach out and comfort Hinata only for her to move away, Hinata finally spoke. I have something to tell you. Chapter 8. Naruto stayed silent for a while, fearing the worst when Hinata said that. What is it you have to tell me? He whispered, looking at his aching feet. She was cut off by a sob and started crying as hard as she had before, a wave of fresh tears coming from her pearl-like eyes. Naruto pulled her to him so she was sobbing into his chest. He held her tightly, letting her get out all of her tears like he had done for her for so long. I'm pregnant. She whispered so softly Naruto had to strain his ears to hear her. His grip on her loosened slightly as he stared slack-jawed at the wall above their beds. Headboard. Naruto, please say something. I am going to be a dad? Yes. Hinata's heart was racing a million miles a minute as the silence lingered after she answered his question. She looked up at his face to see a huge dreamy smile covering his face. Naruto? She gasped when he held her tighter. Marry me, he whispered into her ear and then pulled a ring from his pocket. I was going to ask you soon, this just gave me a reason to ask. Sooner. He smiled shyly as he opened the ring box. The ring was all silver. A blue sapphire, the color of Naruto's eyes, Hinata noticed. The band seemed to swirl into the diamond, giving it the effect of the ocean, or rippling water, which Hinata had told Naruto she loved. Yes. Hinata yelled, throwing her arms around his neck, causing him to fall back on the bed with an oomph. I hope the ring is okay. I know how you like my eyes. I figured even when we are apart this will remind you of me. I love it, love, I really do. She slipped the ring on her finger, then kissed his lips. When she pulled away he gave a big yawn, causing her to giggle. You looked like a fox. She rubbed her nose against his, smiling. Naruto sat up, pulled her with him as he lay down on the pillows, pulling her into his chest with a content sigh, his hand resting on her abdomen. Good night, Hina. He whispered, instantly falling asleep. Night, Naruto. She pecked his cheek and laid her head on his chest, smiling, watching his peaceful face. Browse just in community forum beta story search. Anime/manga/anime/Naruto/anime/Naruto/. Plus. His face soon was no longer relaxed as Hinata watching him, he started to become restless and broke out in a cold sweat. Her mother had once told her not to wake someone in a nightmare, but after 10 minutes of this Hinata was soon shaking Naruto awake, who shot up like lightning, kunai in hand. You were having a nightmare? Hinata whispered, putting a hand on his hand that held the kunai, lowering it to the bed where he dropped it. She wrapped her arms round his waist and laid them both back down onto the bed. Naruto took in a deep breath, breathing in her scent, then closed his eyes again. Do you want to talk about it? Hinata asked, her eyes looking up into his. Not right now, just stay. Always, was her response as they both fell into a deep relaxing sleep. The next day Naruto woke to the smell of bacon and eggs. He sat up in bed and noticed Hinata was still sleeping beside him and wondered who could be in his kitchen. Walking down the stairs and into his kitchen he saw Sakura, Tsunade, and to his surprise Sasuke. What are you all doing here? He asked as he sat down and Sakura put a plate of eggs and bacon in front of him. I'll explain when Hinata comes down. Tsunade said, smiling as he ate his breakfast like it would get up and walk away. No later than 10 minutes later did Hinata walk downstairs and gave them all a strange look, her eyes stopping on Sasuke. Sasuke, good to see you home, she smiled slightly. He smiled back. Good to be home, Hinata. Hinata, would you like some breakfast? Oh no, I couldn't possibly stomach anything right now, thank you, Sakura. She placed her hand in her stomach and smiled. Naruto frowned down at his plate, then started eating. Again, only Hinata really saw his face but pretended not to notice. Naruto, I'm actually here on business, we all are. What is it, Granny? The vein in Tsunade's head started to throb, but she just breathed deeply. As you know, you are the last of the Namikaze. The Uchiha estates sadly were destroyed during the Pain fiasco, and there are plenty of places around your estates to live. Naruto's brow crinkled. You want Sasuke to live here? Yes, but I also wanted to tell you something else. Everyone turned when they heard the sound of someone walking into the kitchen. Naruto's jaw dropped as he saw someone he had only ever seen in pictures around the house. It's been a long time, Naruto. Kushina Uzumaki Namikaze said as she looked at her son. Naruto, this is your mother Kushina. She is going to stay here in the estates along with Sasuke and Sakura. You will all rebuild the Namikaze clan together, once your father gets back, of course. Naruto's head snapped in Tsunade's direction. But he's dead, he yelled, standing as Tsunade was. I will let your mother and everyone explain to you what is going on, as they know I have work. With that, Tsunade was gone, leaving a very tense and quiet kitchen behind. Kushina stood in the doorway watching the young adults awkwardly. Mrs. Namikaze, why don't you come and take a seat? Hinata suggested, offering a chair to her finance's mother. Thank you, Hinata, and please call me Kushina. She smiled kindly and sat in the chair across from where her son would be sitting. Start talking. Now. Naruto demanded. Sakura sat down next to Sasuke, taking his hand. When you were born, your father was severely injured. Everyone assumed him to be dead because of the jutsu he used to seal the fox. A few days after, I found him in the woods. And knew that Koana could not help him with his injury, so I took him away, not knowing that you were still alive. She looked down at her hands, which were on the table as Naruto sat in his chair. The tears in her eyes fell as she looked back up. I decided to come back when your father regained his memory. I never knew it would take 16 years. Naruto looked over at his friends. You two knew? I was the one who found them. Sasuke said, looking Naruto in the eye. They knew I was from Koana. They were at that village you got me from. They were traveling home. By chance I mentioned your name. Tsunade told me that they were alive when you moved in here with Hinata, but she didn't want me saying anything in case they were never found. Another tense silence passed as Naruto thought all this over, then her turned to Hinata. Did you know? His eyes looked hurt and sad. No, I didn't. If I did, I would have told you, she told him honestly, causing him to relax slightly. Why didn't he come with you? He looked at Kushina, not ready to say dad yet. He wanted to move at a slower pace. He wasn't able to train much, so he has to rest more. Kushina started crying again. Please forgive me, Naruto. Everyone else took that as their key to leave. They all stood and walked out to the training grounds in the backyard. You left me. When the Kyuubi attacked, everything was crazy. Your father had taken you and didn't tell me where you were going, and by the time I had the strength to move, you were already missing. So was your father. When I found him, he had no memory, but when I mentioned you, he cried. I assumed you were dead. She stood up and pulled him into a hug. Once she walked around the table. I would have never left you if I had known you were alive. I swear. Naruto started to cry as well as he hugged his mother. I know, Mom, I know. After they talked for a while, Tri walked outside with the others who were sitting on the porch looking at the training grounds. So what does Tsunade mean when she said rebuild the clan? Naruto asked, sitting next to Hinata, pulling her into his side. I promised Sasuke's mother that if anything happened to her, I would take care. If Sasuke. So officially he is your brother, Naruto. He is officially Sasuke Uchiha Namikaze. And when he marries Sakura and when you marry Hinata, which I assume by the rings on both their fingers you are, they will take in the Namikaze name as well. Naruto stared at him, Mom, processing the information. Thank you for watching the video, and comment down below if you want to see the next part. And of course, like, subscribe and turn on post notifications, and I'll see you in the next video.